It's time to remove the mystery from medicine, to seize control of one's health, and to genuinely comprehend the essence of terms like wellness and wholeness. The Ask Dr. Jill podcast provides information, knowledge, and empowerment information to empower you to be wholly well. Dr. Jill Waggoner has nearly 3 decades of medical practice and has a deep-rooted belief in diverse approaches to patient care, well beyond conventional medicine. This realization has fueled her lifelong pursuit of understanding a holistic perspective on health.
It is season 3 for the Ask Dr. Jill podcast. I am Dr. Jill Waggoner Jones, your host for the Ask Dr. Jill podcast. That's appropriate, isn't it? Since I'm Dr. Jill. Okay, anyway, but I am so glad, as you can tell, we are doing something a little different this season. You can see me. So you'll be able to see me and listen to me. So in order to see me, you have to go to YouTube at Ask Dr. Jill, but you can listen to me at all the places you've been listening to me before. So I'm excited about that. Listen, I was reading this study about podcasts that they did a few years ago. I think it was 2016. And they said that people who listen to podcasts really do well because it stimulates all these different areas of the brain. So I thought that was good. So those of you brilliant ones who are listening to this podcast, of course, you're going to learn a lot of stuff. No, not really. But you will. You will. I hope so anyway. So anyway, happy 2024. This is not brand new 2024, but it's still in 2024. And this is what you're probably thinking. I have been in 2024 long enough that now all of my New Year's resolutions are not sounding so great anymore. So it's 2024. You still got time. I know you've fallen off the wagon. Do not roll in the street, though. Get on up and restart those resolutions. So I got tea today, y'all. If you don't know it, I've got teas. I've got a well-aware line of teas. So we do supplements and we do teas. I absolutely love tea. We're going to talk about tea at some point during this season. And if you go back to one of the previous podcasts, I think we have an episode about tea. I'll look at that and we'll put in here so you'll know specifically where to go. But I'm drinking ashwagandha today. That's why the ashwagandha thing is there. So you can get ashwagandha at AskDrJill.net. I remember when we were going into Y2K. I know some of y'all remember that. And I remember everybody was afraid, oh my God, it's Y2K, the computers are going to shut down, and it is just going to be this horrific thing. People were buying like these survival things. My husband is so funny. Y'all know my husband was funny. So we had, in the year 2000, we hadn't been married that long. You know, we were almost at 30 years. So what were we, 6 or 7 years, going into our 7th year, something like that. My husband was like, I sure hope everything shuts down so they can lose your school loan. Well, they didn't. And here we are 24 years later, and we had to pay them all. Anyway, we are good, and I am so glad that y'all are here and you made it to 2024. So this season, I really want to focus on, I always want to focus on wellness. Y'all know that's what I do. Optimal wellness is where you need to be. So I want to focus on success and wellness. How do you manage being well and then being successful? All of us have jobs and we have families and we have all of those things. So how in the world do you manage being successful and being healthy? Because many of us, I saw a thing not too long ago where Steve Harvey was talking about all the stuff he was doing and he just was not well and he had to figure out how to get well. Well, that's true of a lot of people. So I'm going to have some guests this season. A lot of it is just you and I having a few minutes to visit, but we're also going to have some guests. And I really want to focus on people who have managed to stay well and really focus on their well-being while they are being successful. I think that's important for a lot of that. And at the end of each podcast, I'm going to take a few minutes to actually answer your questions. So it's Ask Dr. Jill. I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask Dr. Jill. So if you follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, I'm on Threads too. You can be on Threads. I'm not on the X anymore. I just kind of had to pull off that for a minute, but who knows? I might go back on. But anyway, my point was, if you have some questions or some things you want to ask me about, you can put that on there and we'll really pull them up. And if it's a real good one, shoot, I might send you some tea. You just never know. So anyway, I want to do that. And remember, the website is AskDrJill.net. And I try to put all kinds of good things up there. So let's get started with what I want to tell you about today. So, like I said, you've been into 2024. I'm one of those people. Some people say don't do New Year's resolutions because they don't mean anything. I don't really feel that way. I think that what the new year is for people, although, it's just you go from one day to the other, but it's like a reset period. You get to take a minute, take a month, take weeks, whatever you need to do, and kind of reset. So what am I going to accomplish this year? And my husband and I don't know if y'all do that or not, and my family, actually, we set goals for the year. I think it's good, and we write them down. When you write stuff down, it really becomes kind of real. It's not just something you throw in the air. So we write them down and we look at them. So what I want to talk to you about, and this year I did a vision board too. Shout out to Cheryl Pelote Williamson. Cheryl, I went to one of her vision board events, and it was really good being in a room with other women where we are actually talking about our vision. So that worked for some people. There are some people who say they don't need vision boards, but if you're one of those people, then that's a good thing to do. So what I want to do, though, is talk to you about things that you can start doing right now to move you toward optimal wellness. So these are things, when we first start talking about wellness, everybody thinks about weight loss. This is not about weight loss. Weight and how much your body weighs is definitely a part of your overall wellness, but it's not the main thing. And I think it's important to say that, because if you don't, then everything becomes about weight. And when you are worried about weight, you will do really stupid stuff. I remember, y'all all do. Some of you are in the same generation I am. If somebody had told us when we were in our 20s, if we cut off a toe, we were going to lose weight, we would at least consider it. It's like a toe. Nobody's going to really miss a toe. I mean, you will miss a toe. Y'all know what I mean. But we just did stupid stuff. And we did stupid stuff because we were worried about weight. We were not worried about wellness. So I really want you to focus on wellness. So the first thing that I want to tell you about, so this may not have been something you even thought about. The first thing that you want to do is to get some sunshine, get some sunlight. These are things that science has proven that you are well, or you at least function better when you get some natural light. And I'll expand that to being outside in nature. So we are in these environments now where we are just inside all the time. We're inside. The light is not natural. We don't breathe anything natural. And now we have fooled ourselves to think, oh my God, I can't get the sun. The sun will kill me. What? Yes, you have to be careful and you just can't go out there and bake all day in the buff. I guess you could, but that's a whole nother discussion. But if you go outside and you get too much sun, then that's an issue. But if you get the right amount of sun, it is just absolutely crucial. So I'm going to talk to you about some things that that sunlight does for your body. See, I jumped ahead and went to vitamin D, but I think it's important. And let me give you some science for that. So when you get sunlight, sun exposure triggers the production of vitamin D. Everybody has heard about vitamin D. As we come out of the pandemic and we kind of move into how are we going to continue to be for the next few years, everybody has become at least aware of vitamin D. Well, you make vitamin D. It's not really a vitamin. It's actually a prohormone. You make it, though, in your skin, and it is sun that stimulates your body to make vitamin D. Vitamin D is absolutely crucial for maintaining healthy bones, for supporting the immune system, and regulating mood. So the reason we talked about vitamin D during the pandemic, because one of the things they noticed that people who really got critically ill, their vitamin D levels were low. That's at least one of the contributing factors to, and there were a lot of them, to the large numbers being among people who were black and brown, because when we have melanin in our skin, unless we're at a certain place on Earth where we're closer to the equator, we don't get enough of those rays to really stimulate vitamin D. So vitamin D is really important. There's research published. I'm gonna give y'all some research. You know, I like research. There was research published in the Journal of Photochemistry and Photobiology and Nutrients that emphasizes the importance of adequate vitamin D levels. There are research journals that talk about vitamin D and how you got to get them. So get your vitamin D checked. And if your normal level, and let me tell you what a good level of vitamin D ought to be. Normal is 30 to 100. Optimal, though, is 50 to 80. So you really want to get it around that 50 to 80. Let me get a little of my good old ashwagandha tea. You got time now. You can run and get you something. Okay, anyway, I digress. Okay, that is so good. Don't you like that? It's kind of like a commercial. I'm learning. Anyway, okay, so optimal level is 50 to 80. If your levels are not good, then you want to make sure that you supplement with vitamin D. If you supplement with vitamin D, though, you also want to add K2 to it. Why do you want to add K2 to your vitamin D? Because vitamin D helps you to lay down calcium. You do not want to lay calcium in your blood vessels. So if you take vitamin K2 with it, that kind of prevents that. The second thing that mood enhancement and mental health that sunlight does, sunshine has a profound impact on your mood and mental well-being. Exposure to natural light stimulates the production of serotonin. So you know that serotonin is one of the neurotransmitters that regulates mood, and it regulates us being happy. Also, getting ample sunlight and getting enough serotonin also helps you sleep better. Now, this is really interesting, and I think you think, what? Helps you sleep better? Well, you've all heard of melatonin, and some of you probably have taken melatonin to help you sleep, because melatonin is that hormone that we produce when we're getting ready to sleep. Well, guess what? Melatonin is made from serotonin. I know, right? So it's made from serotonin. If you don't have enough serotonin, you can't have enough melatonin. Isn't the body amazing? So that's why we have that kind of natural circadian rhythm where different hormones are higher in the morning or different ones are higher at night, so that you can follow this natural rhythm of sleep and wake and all of that kind of stuff. There is a study in the psychological in the journal Psychological Medicine, and another in the Environmental Health Perspectives Journal, which suggests that sunlight exposure can help alleviate symptoms of depression and improve overall mental health. So this is what I know for sure. If I sit in an environment that's dark all day, and you'll even notice when there's not on days that it's not as sunny, particularly people who live in different areas of the country where it's not sunny, they'll get something called SAD, and that's seasonal affective disorder, SAD, but it means they're sad. And they start to get sad because they're not getting enough sunlight. So if you can't get enough sunlight, there's artificial sunlight you can get. There's sun lamps, but you really have to focus on trying to get that natural light if you can, because that'll help you. And then, like I said, if you get enough sunlight, you make enough serotonin, then you'll make enough melatonin so that you can sleep better. So exposure to natural light, especially in the morning. When you get up in the morning, go ahead and open up those blinds, let the sun in, walk outside. That can help you regulate the body's internal clock and improve your sleep quality. There's research that's been published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine and Sleep Medicine Reviews. Yes, there is a Journal of Sleep. There's a medical journal for everything. You'll figure that out. Those studies highlight the role of sun exposure in setting the body's circadian rhythm, like we talked about a few minutes ago, and can positively impact sleep patterns. So that's good stuff, isn't it? So get you some sun, go on out, get some sun. And if you're at work and you're in a building and you don't get sun, walk outside when you have a few minutes so you can get that sun. It really will help you feel better. And then you will not be quite as grumpy. Who said somebody's grumpy? I'm going to get a little tea on that. What y'all think about that? Okay, little tea. Hold on. Get y'all some tea. Oh, get you an Ask Dr. Jill mug. Don't y'all like this? I do too. It'll remind you, I think, of some of the stuff that I share with you. Okay, here we go. Okay, good deal. The other thing that I want to tell you to add is walking. Okay. The thing that we think about walking as exercise, and we think about walking as something that helps us to burn calories or whatever. Okay, that's good, but this is what I want you to know. It isn't merely about putting one foot in front of the other, and it isn't about burning up calories, but in order to walk, walking involves a complex interplay, listen to this, of coordination that engages various parts of the brain. In order to walk, when you walk, you like swing one arm and your leg goes out and your hip does something, and depends on how hard you walk. And I know y'all, when we put on our high heels, we really can walk. But y'all know how you have to swing your stuff, and that's coordination in your brain. And so there are these tracks in your brain that interact with each other just from walking. So walking helps your brain health. I think that is amazing. So that explains a lot of things. We don't walk so much anymore. Everything you got to get in your car. But one of the ways first of all, count your steps. If you don't have, your watch or phone, something counts your steps. You can get a cheap step counter. They have, they're not quite, I don't know if they have pedometers anymore. They have pedometers. Anyway, I don't know if they have pedometers, but they have all kinds of stuff. Y'all see it. It shows up. It's a cheap this. So it doesn't have to be something really fancy for you to count your steps, but count your steps so you're not walking around trying to count steps all day. I was talking to a patient one time and I said, how many steps are you doing? I said, are you counting your steps? She said, yes, I am. I said, so how many do you get in a day? And she gave me this number, like 1,200. I thought, Lord have mercy, 1,200. Okay, anyway, but I'm not judgmental, so I didn't judge. And so I said, so let me see your step counter. And she said, I just counted in my head. I was like, girl. You can. So you walk around all day. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, where was I when I stopped laughing? That's funny to me. I'm sorry that may not be funny to you, but can you imagine? Now you got to remember. How am I going to remember? So I went to the bathroom. Where was I on 37? What? No. Get you some way to count your own steps. That just makes sense to me. But anyway, the cerebellum, which is responsible for coordination and balance, along with your motor cortex of the brain, plays a crucial role in the intricate process of walking. So regular walking helps maintain and even improve those neural connections in your brain. It keeps the parts of your brain talking to each other. I think that is absolutely amazing. I do. Y'all, I'm going in the wrong direction. So that's sleep and that's walking. The other thing that walking does, it reduces stress. Everybody is stressed. I was talking to my assistant and we were talking about how some people really, every time you talk to them, they kind of take you back to some traumatic part or period in their life. And what you want to say, please do not think that I am saying that trauma is not a real thing. Trauma is really a real thing, but listen. At some point, you got to get some help or move on from that trauma, or you are causing the rest of us trauma because we have to hear about it every time we talk to you. So you got to do that. So walking has positive effects on your mental well-being. I remember when my grandmother passed away, I used to walk in the morning. I walked in the evening. I walked when I had a break. I used to call it walking away the tears because the way I was able to calm myself down and work through that grief, one of the ways I did it was with walking. So studies in psychiatry research and in medicine and science and in sports and exercise suggest that walking can reduce stress levels. It can alleviate symptoms of depression and anxiety, and it can promote a more positive mood by triggering the release of serotonin and other endorphins. So start walking. So this is what you want to do. If you're not, first of all, get you some way to count your steps. If you're not doing 4,000 steps a day, girl, get up, sir, get up, move your hips around. You got to start walking. So at least try to hit 4,000 steps a day. You really want to get to 10, but you can't just go from 1,200 to 10. I mean, then you'll be in my office talking about your knees are hurting. So this is what you got to do. When you park somewhere, park a little further out and just start walking. If the store is close by, or if you can go walk to the end of your driveway to get the garbage can instead of driving up there. I mean, literally that kind of stuff you can do. So start walking, try to make sure that you get up to 4,000 steps a day, and then start adding on. So this is how you add. If you're doing 4,000 consistently, then you want to go ahead and go to try to get 5,000. Do that for a while. Don't go 4,000 a day, 5,000 tomorrow, 6,000. Then you want to go 4,000, then maybe try to get 4,500, stay there for a week, then try to get to 5,000, stay there for a week, and then try to gradually increase. Because remember, you are trying to make changes for a lifetime, for forever. And so if you kind of add it on to what's going on, it'll help a lot. So the first thing was get some sunlight. The second thing was just start walking. Just get some walking in your life. It is going to help you to get toward wellness. The last thing is sleep. Listen, prioritize sleep. So many of us think it is cute not to sleep. And we will say, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Yeah, you will. And you will be dead a lot sooner if you don't sleep. Sleep is one of those things that as we have gone through, since man has been on the earth, we've evolved. And so evolution has taken away a lot of things, and evolution changes what we do and what our bodies need. Sleep has not been one of those things that we have evolved out of. You know why? Because it is very important for us. So get some sleep. If you are not sleeping, go in and talk to your doctor about sleeping, because that's very, very important. Don't do it. oh, by the way, I say, the doctor's on their way out the door. I have an hour with all of my patients so we can get to most things. But, most doctors don't have but 15 minutes. They don't. We can talk about that sometimes. That's a whole nother thing. Because they got to get a bunch of people in. But if you have a concierge physician like me, then you have more time. And so talk to your doctor about sleep. Make an appointment so you can go in and talk about sleep, because sleeping is very important. Quality sleep is essential for physical and mental health and well-being. Research in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine and Sleep Health suggests that adequate sleep supports your immune function. If you don't sleep and you are tired, you are much more likely to get ill. So that's why your young people, when they come home from college, they're sick. Because like around Christmas time, they had finals at the end of that first semester. And then when they come home, they are sick. All of them come home with some kind of stuff because their immune systems are just suppressed. And so they'll be sick. So adequate sleep supports immune function. It helps the body to fight off infections and illnesses. Additionally, sleep plays a vital role in various bodily processes, including hormone regulations. I believe that one of the reasons that women, when they are menopausal, are so grumpy is because they are sleepy. When that progesterone level falls and you cannot sleep, let me tell you something, not being able to sleep from not having enough progesterone and not being able to sleep because you are hot all night and you are throwing your cover off, you too would be grumpy, because after you don't sleep for 6 or 8 months, you are ready. Okay, anyway, that's another thing. This is not a counseling session, is it? No, that's another thing. The other thing that sleep helps, when it regulates your hormones, it regulates your metabolism and it regulates your cardiovascular health. So that's stuff that you want to do. So though you get it. So start walking, start sleeping. That is very, very important. So I hope that has been helpful. So I have some questions from some of my followers. And one that I thought was very interesting, and we'll have it down in the information below. One was, have you ever heard of period flu? Somebody said, Dr. Jill, have you ever heard of period flu? And I was thinking, period flu? What in the world? There is a thing called period flu. And period flu is when women have these severe, we used to just call it, what is it? Premenstrual syndrome. We used to just call it premenstrual syndrome. And then it was premenstrual dysphoric syndrome, because there were some people who had a lot of psychiatric or psychological kinds of symptoms, sadness, anxiety, that kind of stuff. But there are also women who have these severe physical symptoms, so severe, it's a real thing, y'all. Period flu, where they feel like they have the flu, and so they get tested all the time. And it's a thing, and it's because the progesterone level drops. But when I got asked that question, I thought, we're going to do an episode on that so we can inform y'all. So you look out for that. But period flu. So if you're having those severe symptoms around your period, or, and I'm talking about menstrual period, or if there's a young woman in your life, your granddaughter, your daughter, your niece or something, she's having severe symptoms, then you want to talk about that. Okay. Then the other question that I keep getting over and over is, Dr. Jill, what are you doing? You look good. Thank y'all so much. I have been working on trying to get healthier myself, and there's some new research that is out about, kind of healthy and treating obesity like it is the illness, the disease that it is. And I know there's going to be people that say, all you got to do is just eat less and whatever. Well, they don't know what they're talking about. Okay, so there you go. I was looking at one, and there was, it was actually on one of the news things, and they were talking to this trainer who has, she's a very famous trainer. And so she was sitting there and she had her lips all, she was like Botoxed and all of that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. And she was talking about how ridiculous it is for people who have weight as an issue to use medications for that when all they need to do is just push away from the table. And I thought, well, then just smooth your own wrinkles out. Why don't you just do that and make your own lips get how you want to get them? So anyway, that's my thing. But anyway, there you go. So the next episode, I'm actually going to talk about wellness and treating obesity. That's all I got for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Make up your mind to make this day a good one. Don't forget, follow me on all of the stuff and go to YouTube so you can see me. Some of you see me already. Go to YouTube, share, like, all of that. We got a Facebook group too with the people who were doing the Daniel fast. I know you may be at the end of it, but we'd like to have you. So have a great day.